So today's topic, we have one of our members let us know that, hey, we're getting plenty of leads. We're dialing them in at the right numbers. We've got great margins, but we're just not converting the number that we should do. So today's episode, we're going to give you a specific tool that is going to be an absolute game changer. And no, it's not a power drill. It is an info pack. And what this really does is makes you stand out and differentiate yourself from the competition so that you're not having to compete on price. All right, so before we get into it, Owen, how was your weekend? What'd you get up to? What are your plans?
Yeah, good, man. Weekend was fantastic. Final weekend before my half Ironman next week in Melbourne. So just making sure I have everything, making sure that they got race ready, and making sure I got everything for my flight. Put the bike in the box, all of that good stuff. I think from now until May, when we're in New Zealand for the summit, I'm barely back at home. So I'm seeing members in Melbourne, I'm seeing members in Perth, I'm seeing members in New Zealand. We're hitting the road, and you're going to be doing this podcast by yourself. And I'm looking forward to the trip. But
Yes.
yeah, it was my last weekend at home with the comforts of home. So not too much. What about yourself, dude? What did you get to?
Just basically planning and prepping, because in 2 weeks' time we go to family's going away to Japan and Taiwan for 3 weeks for a holiday, and I'll be staying here carrying on the podcast. And on Friday we are heading away for 2 weeks on a motorbike tour with 3 other mates around the South Island. So just getting all the bits ready for my motorbike. Got a new exhaust coming, radar detector, that's a must. Don't need the popo locking me up or putting me in jail or refiring my bike.
No, I'm not sure you'd be able to do many podcasts from the inside.
No, exactly. A different slice of life.
For those that are new finding us, new listening to us, long-time listeners, first-time callers or whatever, what bike have you got? Give us the update, because you got a new one, right?
Yeah, I just bought a new Ducati Street Fighter V4S. So it's basically like a super bike, but a sit-up naked bike for older men. When you hit 50, neck starts to get old, starts to slow down a bit. It's still got all the speed. Like, I think it's got 208 horsepower, and it's epic. But it's much ergonomically better for when you get older.
No, nice, awesome. So I'm excited. I'm excited for your trip. Like, that's gonna be good fun. South Island is beautiful. You're gonna have a good time putting around there. Any particular spots? Are you going to any of the tracks, or what are you doing?
Yeah, no, we won't go to the tracks. That typically leaves that for the cars, for our car club. But we will do down to Queenstown, down the west coast, try and avoid the rain. And we don't actually book a night anywhere. We just go where there isn't rain. So our sailing's on Monday, 7:45 a.m. Hopefully those damn ferries are running, because it's been a cluster with one of them's had a gearbox broken and they had to fly a guy out from Finland. So hopefully that'll all be fixed and we'll be off to the races.
Yeah, too right. Awesome. Today we're chatting about the info pack, how to make sales easy when marketing does the heavy lifting. So this is one of the most useful tools that you could possibly get. When people ask me, like, Owen, what's the secret? What's the shortcut? What's the 80-20? How can I work smarter and harder? Well, there is no secret. There is no shortcut. But this is definitely one of the levers that you can pull to have a huge impact on things. This is one of the big dominoes that you can knock over to achieve outsized returns. So I'm excited to be unpacking this with you today. Marti, where do we start?
Yeah, so I think this is such a big domino. So this covers off all those key concerns, like, who are you? Who's your company? Can I trust you? And how specifically can you help me? So if you don't put any info in front of the prospect before you go to see them, then they're going to be having all those concerns, all those worries, because typically the unforeseen, the intangible, is what people are concerned about. They may not have done a renovation before. They may not have done a new build before. And typically this is the biggest investment of their life. So they want to make sure that they're getting as much information and as educated beforehand. So we're going to help them with that by letting them know everything that our company does, the systems we have, who the directors are, frequently asked questions, how we work with you. And if you do that in advance, then sales becomes easy or easier when marketing does the heavy lifting. So this is really going to help do three key things. Number one, it's going to get know, like, and trust. So before you actually go to the site visit. Number two, it's going to allow you to win higher margins and have more profitable jobs. And number three, it's going to make sales process consistent so that you win more projects on a regular basis. So yeah, so this is just one of the 7 key steps in the sales process. So first you got to get a lead, then you qualify them. So you use a qualifying questionnaire. Then you use your inbound sales process. Then you send out your info pack. Then in your follow-up call, could be either on the phone or in person, we're going to qualify them some more based off the information that they've filled in and they've got our info pack. Then we go out to do the site visit, very specific process for the site visit. Then we quote the job or our quotes into action plan. And at that stage, we might decide that we've got plenty of leads coming in. We're tired of doing quotes for free and we're going to do our preliminary budget service and position ourselves as an expert.
Sure.
Then go away, price the job up, and then we use our quotes into an action plan, which of course we present in person so that we can walk someone through it, go over all their concerns, cover off our project management, their scope of works, the budget, how we're going to make everything work, the systems, who's going to be on site. It really put their mind at ease and reassure them that we are the right builder for the job and that we have all the systems to deliver on what we say we can.
Yeah, huge. That whole process that you just walked us through is so strategic. Okay, so people might say, it sounds like a bit of overkill, or, it won't work for me. But the reality is it has to work for you, because if you don't have a good sales process, then you're going to be trying to take somebody from cold to the biggest financial decision of their life in most cases overnight. And that's just simply not going to happen. You're either going to leave money on the table, or I should say leave margin on the table. You're going to compete on price to get these jobs. You're going to bend over backward and switch timelines around to make it work and make sure that they're happy. Or you're going to have a bit of a pain in the side client throughout the entire process because you haven't positioned them well from the very get-go. So this is super key. There's micro commitments throughout all of these. And the big key micro commitment around people's emotion, around people's decision, around people's forward pacing of who they're going to be building with can really be centered around the info pack, which is what we're going to be covering here now.
Yeah, I like what you said about pain in the side. So there are 2 types of pain as a builder. You can either have the pain of regret of losing jobs, losing out to other builders, being price checked, competing on price, wondering why you don't have a replicable sales system. Or you can have the pain of discipline of following best practice, following what works, implementing a process that has been repeated thousands and thousands of times, that wins higher margin jobs, converts higher, and allows you to focus on the client because everything else is systemized step by step, and you internalize it. And once you've done it, 5, 10, 15, 20 times, it becomes second nature. So they're comparing the builder who shows up, should be able to do it for 3,000 a square, fit you in about 6 months' time, versus someone who has scripts. Hello, welcome to XYZ Construction. Just so I can help you best. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? Have you got consent? Have you got plans? What's your budget? Do you have your scope of works? Yada, yada, yada. And then also, what are you sending out in advance? So we want to make sure that we're giving people not just one variable, price, but we're giving them multiple variables in terms of time, budget, quality, trust, and communication that they're going to assess us on. And it just so happens that they're subconsciously assessing you and anyone else that they choose on these variables, but not many people choose to make it tangible. And what we're doing by putting this into the key step of an info pack that we're going to run you through is we're bringing all that intangible stuff to the forefront of people's minds, and we're making it tangible. And we're now giving them some key criteria which they're going to make their decision on who best builder for their project is. And of course, this info pack covers off all those key criteria.
Yeah, 100%. So like, just on that really quickly, my experience, so most people that you're going to deal with will not have built a home before. This might be their first home, might be their second, but what is often the case is even if it is their third, you will know way more about building than they will. 9 times out of 10. There's going to be what's called an information asymmetry. And what that means is that you know a truckload and they know comparatively very little, right? And the goal of the info pack is to educate them on what Marti just said, the variables that go into their decision making, and educate them on how you answer those questions and satisfy those concerns so that you even up the information, or you bring them back up here, I should say, so they're in a comfortable and confident position to build with you. So the biggest example of this with me is when I went and bought a new car, right? And look, I'll be honest, I don't know a truckload about cars. I know that there are questions I'm meant to ask, but I have an information asymmetry with the person at the lot. And I just inherently feel like I'm being ripped off or feel like I'm being taken advantage of because I don't know a lot, right? I know, hey, is it a cam belt? Is it this? Is it that? Like, I know there's these questions that I'm meant to ask, but I don't really know what the answers are meant to be. So what you want to do in your marketing and in your info pack is you want to educate them around timeline, trustworthiness, quality, communication, budget. And the more that you can educate them and let them know, hey, there's an industry standard of quality, but here is our 287-point quality control checklist. This is so that we don't just hit industry standard, but exceed it to our standard. My information and my trustworthiness of you is going to go up because I feel like I'm in a more stronger position to make a decision because I have access to more information from a trusted source like yourself. So this is really key. The info pack is going to make all those things that are intangible, tangible by printing out, making it real, putting it in their hands in advance of a decision.
Exactly. So I think if we could bring up, if we're now going to make the intangible tangible for you, and if you're listening on the podcast, fantastic. We will give you a link where you can go and you can actually have a look afterwards at a sample one. That this is what our members come to us because either, one, they're great at building, but they want to build a great business in the specific areas that they want specific knowledge in, whether it's variations, improving sales process, how to price, how to charge for you or quotes, etc. Or they know what to do, but they're coming for speed, templates, scripts, processes, questionnaires, calculators, etc. And here, this is a great example of speed. So not only is it specific knowledge, but we've got about 25 of these on our site from our members who are crushing it. And you can just plug and play, use this template that we're going to run you through right now. And Owen, I think this falls into the categories, 3 categories that you love to preach, the trifecta of people, process, and product. So that's everything that's inside.
Yep, that's exactly right. So, what we don't want to do is don't just want to be discussing and talking about, the trap that most people will fall in is they just talk about their product. They're like, look at these beautiful homes, look at these incredible finishings. I'm like, that's great, that's fantastic, but that's pretty much table stakes for being a great builder, right? If you want to do great work, you've got to showcase a great portfolio of that work. What you really want to be doing is you want to be showcasing your processes, your people as well, okay? And that's what this tool is all about. It's about showcasing your network, your team, yourself. So it's showcasing how you can make their life easier with the processes, the day-to-day, rhythms that you have so that somebody building with you is not going to be stressed out, awake at night, freaking out about you running off with their money or anything crazy, all right? But is going to have an exceptional experience. So that's what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be pulling the curtain back on how Tony, one of our members, has put all of this into his info pack. Can you see this on screen okay, Marti?
Yep. Looks like a magazine cover. It looks absolutely brilliant. And I've also got one here from Pat's Building Group. Now, ironically, they're both in beautiful Queensland.
Yep.
So first, I think, you've got the design. Like, what does it look like? Does it look like world-class, high-res quality photos And does it look like something that you would put in a magazine? And our one is actually like a book. So it's a world-class book. I'll take you through how we use it with our members as well. But the first thing is, do you have world-class photos? Get a great photographer. And then if we go through, like, we're in the table of contents. So we've got a little bit about who is the company owner and then who is the company. So people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So what's your background? Where did you come from? Why did you choose to be a carpenter? Does it run in the family? What else do you do in the local community? And quite often we refer to this as the magic story. So what's your magic story, the unique things that you, your family do that people in the local community can connect with? So if there's anything cool that, if you have to be in the local motorcycle club or you coach the local hockey team, what do you do that people can build rapport with, contact with, and connect on? So we got about you, about the company's values, how we work with you. So we're going to go through step by step. We'll go through that in a minute. Client testimonials, who's on your team, why you would choose us over any other building company in the local area, how we specifically help you. And then we're going to show them a little bit behind the scenes. We're going to pull back the curtain and show them our systems, our processes, any associations that we belong to, any cool licenses that you might have. And then what are our responsibilities as the builder? And what are your responsibilities as the client? And then lastly, frequently asked questions. And then we want to lead people into a call to action. So great, you've got the info pack. What are the next steps from here? What's going to happen when we actually come out on site? We sit down and we're going to go through the site visit. What happens in that? What's the next step after that? All right. So why don't we run through these and we'll just give a little bit of detail about, overall Owen, and then we'll crack into each topic. So the about us is typically where we're going over the company, high levels of trust, who we are, and what we do. So people want to know that your company is solid, that it's stable, that it's trustworthy, that you have the systems and the processes. And we do this by showing who our team is, number of years experience, any awards that we've won. So if you've won any Master Builders Awards, or you've been featured in any magazines, or like a lot of our members, you've been in, I don't know, ArchiPro, or you've been featured on Grand Designs or TV, we want to be putting these in as well.
Yeah, 100%. And you want to typically at this point introduce your team from the perspective of what is in it for them, what is in it for the prospect. So, it's okay. So as an example, what's on screen at the moment with Tony's, and this is actually not Tony's final finished product. I've brought up one of Tony's final drafts because we went back to him and I wanted to show you the areas that we were still open to improvement, because you might be seeing this and you might be going like, damn, that looks epic. We might be seeing this going like, well, I think I've got something similar. This is not a finished product. This is actually like an 8 out of 10, and we want to get it to a 12 out of 10. The way that we would do that is we'd be looking at this meet the team section, and we would want to include when the prospect would meet these team members and how they would engage with them and what is in it for them. So, for example, we might let them know that one of the team members might be taking care of their day-to-day operations and be running their site visits, and you would see them or meet them on a weekly site visit. You might introduce the office manager here, and you would say that the office manager is going to take care of all of your progress payments, all of your invoicing. They'd be in touch if there's any variations or anything that would need your sign-off, and they would give you a weekly or staged report on the project as well. So we want to showcase and also elevate your team, because quite often the mistake that many people make when they go from busy builder to business owner is they are stuck in them thinking of going, Mr. and Mrs. Jones are buying me.
Yeah, and that is, they only want to deal with me.
Exactly. They're actually buying a dream home, right? They're buying an end result. And they just assume that you are the one that produces that, because you have not educated them on the people that you have, on the processes that you have. But if you let them know that, hey, this team that I've got, they're rock stars. They're great at doing the finishing. They're great at laying the foundation. They're great at doing the framing. They're great at doing the work on site. And then I've got these processes, and they follow my processes to make sure that we get a dream home, just like this example, that example, and the other example. So if you do not educate the client on when they'll meet the team, on what process the team will use, then the client is just going to assume that they're buying you. And that is not the case. They're buying your processes and your people to help them produce a phenomenal dream home.
And this comes back to elevate to delegate. Like, if you don't elevate and build up your team, particularly in the client's eyes and their own eyes, what their capability is, give them the outcomes to live up to, then you're going to stay stuck, tied to client meetings, project management, pricing, etc., and every other aspect, and stay really tied to your company. And of course, we want to build a company or a business that has systems, processes, and people that run those systems, rather than it all being on your shoulders.
Big time.
So then we've got a little bit about the company. So what's the type of work you do? Who's your ideal client? Where do you work? What are you great at? So that we can attract more. And are there any unique systems or unique processes or unique things about your company that would benefit the client that would be great to put in there? So maybe you are your town's only company to feature in a specific architect magazine. Maybe you do passive house building and no one around you does passive houses to the same level. What do you do that's different, that is valuable in the client's eyes, that really sets you apart from other people? So we're comparing apples with oranges rather than apples with apples. All right, so then we've got testimonials. So anything that is, basically this is like your website, your direct response website, not that shitty old brochure that you might have had from the 1980s. But this is like a direct response website in print. And all sales is salesmanship. Direct response is salesmanship in print. So we're using every direct response element here. So that's overcoming people's concerns, having specificity, showing all the systems that you have, getting people's case studies, their full name, their details, and so forth, and showing before and after case studies. And then what were people's biggest concerns? And then how did your company help put those at ease? So we were worried about quality assurance. It's great. The quality assurance checklist that PBG group had massively helped to put that at ease.
Yeah. And this is where people often go wrong, is they'll have a pretty brochure and they'll get this to kind of like a second or third draft, and they'll have that draft just with, then it will look like, if I go back, and Tony won't mind me saying this because I've discussed it with him, it will look like this page here, right? Whereas a lot of words, we want to turn it into, more like this page here, where those words have been highlighted and bolded, and the images have an award and some specificity to what has actually gone on here. So what I recommend is, once you've got your draft together with all the images and the copy, then print it out, sit down with your significant other, with a new team member, with a best friend, or with a neighbor, and go through it page by page and write all over it. I want you to explain and tell the stories. Like, who was this home for? Was it for a young, like in this case, it was a young couple's first home that won an HIA award. In this case, it was it was a Queenslander restoration, right? We want to highlight and draw out the stories from Shane and Tash, from Margaret and Heidi, from all of the people that are here and the stories that are in your info pack, because that's where you're going to get the copy and the insight. Because what you want this to serve as a tool in doing is, you want people to open it up, read through it, and really get to know you and really kind of understand what parts are relevant to them and how you're going to be able to help them. And they're not going to be able to do that without the copy or the captions on all of the images and through all of the big main copy blocks to call out what's most important. So that's a really important exercise that a lot of people overlook. They kind of get bogged down and going, oh, this sounds really difficult. It's really not. Use our template to get it to a pretty version, and then print it out, sit down with somebody and explain to your, cousin, brother, significant other, son, daughter, neighbor, best friend, and you just go like, hey, this is a job we did with X and Y. This is a job that we're really proud of because we had to really landscape the whole site. This is a job we're really proud of because the climb was a bit of hard work, but we managed to find a workaround. This is a job, and what happened here was we used our quality control checklist, or we used our weekly communication rhythm, or we used our whatever process happened to, our independent estimator to make sure that we achieved this result or that result for the client, and they were really happy because of it. So we want to really tell the stories to every image you've got in here. As you'll find, all of the images in Tony's one will have captions against them, okay? And that's really important.
What you've just said is really important. So facts tell, stories sell. So the parables that you're talking about really draw out. You like that? So write it down. Grab that pen. So we're future pacing people, right? With some FOMO. So if you've got a villa or a bungalow, then you see other case studies of people getting a villa renovation done. You're like, hey, our house is just like theirs. We would like a similar thing done to make the natural light better, take advantage of the wood, extend it so that there's better indoor-outdoor flow. You're like, hey, that's what we want. That's what they got done. So it helps to reduce that perceived risk. You also want to put down what is your process that people go through. So we've got a 7-step process. So initial contact and questionnaire, design and build consultation, prelim agreement, plans and estimate, contract signing, commencement, and then handover. So we're going to pull back the curtain and we're going to show what are the specifics of each one of those at our business and how is it different from other people? How are we more specific? How do we give more credibility? And specificity leads to credibility. So we're going to break each of those stages down, use some quotes, use some examples in there of our plans, full documentation. Do we have a separate trust account where your deposit goes into? So we're not going to run off and buy another Ford Ranger. And if you're really high tech, like Michaela here, you could even put QR codes that lead through to your website.
I love that.
Case studies for people.
Yeah. So,
and then, sorry,
no,
we've got the why choose us. So that's where we might run through your guarantee over and above the master builder's guarantee. How we differ, our 1,100 point checklist, our guarantee for $100 back every day that we're over, and the kind of work that we do, the awards that we've done, etc. And then we're really just leading people down a natural rhythm or a natural thing where the next step is a site visit with us. So this should be sent in advance of the site visit. One of the biggest mistakes we see is people taking it with them to the site visit and then just kind of handing it over like, oh, here you go. Here's a bit about our company.
Dude, and it's so frustrating when I hear this from some members and they're like, oh, how'd the info pack go? And they go, yeah, no, it was great. I turned up with it. I'm like, no. Because the info pack is a micro commitment that's going to get them excited about building with you, is to forward pace them working with you, is to get them excited about the prospects. And it's also to educate them so that when you turn up for the site visit, you're not taking them from cold to pre-sold. You're taking them from pre-sold to sold. Because at the end of the site visit, you need to have them to commit to the next stage, which ideally is a preliminary service agreement or a charging for quotes in a world where you can't charge for quotes, right? So you cannot turn up and go, g'day, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Nice to put face to the name. Hey, I've got something for you. Here's my info pack. They're going to grab it from you, put it under their arm and go, hey, thanks very much for that. So tell me all about you. Why should I build with you? Like, no. This needs to turn up 2 or 3 days before you do with a cover letter on top asking them to review it, to check out specifically page 16 because it's got a project just like the one that they're thinking of doing.
Yes. So if you were to use post-it notes and put in there and put a little sticky note on the front, personalized for them.
Exactly. So that when you turn up, you can reframe them against the script that we've got. You go, hey, Marty, how'd you get on with my info pack? And they can say...
Really like page 16 where I saw the villa that's just like our house that Mary and John have done from the suburb just 2 over.
oh, I'm glad have you got it handy? Let's open it up. And then I can pull it up to page 16 and I can go, well, actually, let's just flip over to page 5. I want to introduce you to Craig. Craig's my leading foreman. He's the one that did that project. And that means that if you were to start working with us, you'd be working closely with Craig as well. I'll make sure to bring him along to our next meeting.
Yes, 100%. So the big thing there, as we've just said, is send it out in advance. Now, I don't know about you, but it's worth the $7 to $9 to invest in a courier. Because how many bits of mail would you get during the week?
My wife gets more than I do. I only get the bills.
Okay. What about couriers? Like, how many courier packages would you get during the week?
Maybe at Christmas and my birthday, I might get 1 or 2.
Yeah, 100% right. So when you do get one, it's naturally there's a little bit of, whoa, wonder what this is, wonder where this has come from. Now, because my wife is a professional online shopper, we get quite a few courier parcels here, but each time there's still a little bit of excitement and you're like, whoa, I wonder what this is. So you might put with this like a chocolate bar. You can have a cover letter with it. And because you're couriering it, it says, hey, this is valuable and we value you as a potential client. And we do things a little bit differently. And if you can imagine this level of detail, this level of care in advance of us even having spoken to you, imagine what you're going to get during the project.
Huge. So if you're following along at home and you're making notes, this is we said at the very beginning, this was one of the 80-20 strategies that's going to help you in your pipeline, strategies. How do you get larger jobs? You sign them at better margins. You convert them higher. How do you position people well? This is one of the big 80-20 strategies. Well, within this, the couriering in advance of you showing up is again an 80-20 of how you execute it. You need to be doing this to be really juicing the strategy for all it's worth. So 100%, if you're following along at home, make a note of this one, courier the info pack in advance of showing up for the site meeting.
100%. So we use it in our process. This is our one. So we would get between 60 to 100 applications each week wanting to have a chat with us, have a strategy session, and put a game plan together. Now, we can't help everyone, so we qualify people. So we cut out probably about a third to a half of those. So if they're not a builder, if they've only just started in business, if they're doing sub 250K, then we can give them free resources to get started rather than an hour and a half of pure gold, putting their numbers into our system with one of our growth coaches. So what we do is we qualify those 60 people. So there might be 30 to 50 triages. We then have a 15-minute chat, see, can we actually help you? How can we help you? What are the specifics to your business? And if you qualify and you pass a good bugger test, then what we do next is we actually courier you out one of these info packs. And so this info pack, it arrives and you go through it and you see case studies of members who are crushing it, where they currently were, how we frequently ask questions, how we help them transform their life and their business. What's the process that we use? What type of building companies do we work with? What stage are you at on the builder's ladder? Who our team is, and what do you most need help with? So this is how we use it. It helps make the intangible tangible. We've been around for 19 years. We've helped 2,500 building company owners. It didn't come down in the last shower with any other info marketers. It really helps differentiate people when they get something tangible before talking with our team if they qualify.
Totally. Now, I see a lot of people that put this in place but drag the chain, and they think that it needs to be, absolutely the NASA version before they launch. It doesn't. I've seen members put this in place in one weekend. I had a member, Tim, came to me on the Thursday. He said, Owen, I've got the exact lead that I want to do work for. He was trying to progress from labor only to full contract, right? But I haven't got my info pack ready yet. I haven't got my website ready yet. What do I do? I was like, dude, this is awesome. When are you meeting with them on site? He said, I'm meeting with them next Wednesday. It was Thursday. He was meeting with them next Wednesday. So perfect. On Monday, I want you to deliver the info pack to them. All right. That means that you've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to get one together. He ended up delivering the info pack to them on Sunday lunchtime because he managed to get this in place in Thursday afternoon, Friday, and Saturday. He took our template, changed the images around, changed some of the copy around, made it his own, got it printed down at the local warehouse stationery for $4.50, and some really nice card with wire bound as well. And then he, just got his wife to go and drop it in the letterbox of the person's house on that Sunday afternoon. You don't have to turn this into a NASA space shuttle launch. It can be executed in 48 to 72 hours.
100%. I think, a big thing there, don't let perfection get in the way of progress.
Big time.
And one of the easiest things is to delegate this to someone else. So who do you have on your team who you could do? Could you hire someone from Upwork? And then even better, do you have a template or an example that you can follow? Like we've got about 25 to 30 of them of members who are crushing it. On our membership site, our members just go on there, download it, and hey presto. So I would say those are the key things. Delegate it to someone else. Hire a student or someone to help implement it. Use a template as an example, and don't let perfection get in the way of progress. Because getting something out there, and some of our members will do like a smaller version of this called a lookbook, and like a simple sort of 4 to 6 page brochure. At least get that into play whilst you're building out your case studies, your how we work with you, etc.
Yeah, 100%. And just on that really quickly, this is probably something I should have brought up earlier, but a lot of people get stuck in the meet and team section, all right? So again, the question that you're fundamentally answering this is, who are you? Who's your team? How can I trust you? And how can you help me specifically? We're satisfying the concerns around timeline, budget, trustworthiness, quality, and communication, okay? And what people often do is they go, well, my team's not big enough. It changes and chops quite regularly. Sometimes I have this guy, sometimes I don't. Remember, your team is your supplier and wider network as well. So include in your logos of the plumber, the electrician, the merchant. Okay, maybe you've only been driving around town for the last 18 to 24 months, but the plumber that you work with has been driving around town for the last decade. Maybe the trust that I have associated with your brand is very low because I just have never seen you before. But the trust I have associated with the plumber or the electrician is very high because they've been around town for 10 years and my kids play football with their kids, right? Trust is transferable and trust is accumulative. So the trust that you're going to be able to transfer from their logos, from their brand, from their association over to your company is huge. And the best way to do that is by having a preferred partners, a wider network, a team or partnership page that includes all those logos, suppliers, that sort of stuff.
Which also begs the question, where do you put it? The answer is D, all of the above, everywhere. So you want to have it on your website, have it as a pop-up. You want to have it as a download off social media. You want to have it in your opt-in sequence once people opt in for any other reason. You want to have it on your site signage. So go here to download your top 9 things that you need to know about building a Queensland villa. Queensland. So you want to make sure that it's everywhere, it's available, and it's a low-risk opportunity that people have to know about you, your company, your process, your people, and your product.
Nice. So, guys, if you found today helpful, you've probably taken a couple of the key notes. Now, what you need to do with those notes is a few things. Take some damn action and get it into play. If you want to go and do it by yourself, then that's absolutely fine. You can go and do that. And good luck to you. We wish you all the best. Okay. This is a strategy that works for every member that we put it in place for. Or maybe you want some help. And if you want some help, then that's cool as well. We've got resources and some tools below that you can download to see other examples, to fast track, and so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. All right. And then if you want to take it a step further, you can have a chat with one of our team. We can review it together and we can work out the next steps and the best ways that it should be deployed against some of our other strategies like the Dream 100, right? Like the 100-day holiday, like the 3-tiered marketing system, like the quick grab leads strategy.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. Use your words.
That's it. It's still Monday for me. So it's like, I'm still ramping up the everything for me at the beginning of the week, and my words are slowly coming out. But
That's
hopefully you guys have got some value.
Some
there you go. You've been Joe Roganing yourself.
I'm all about biohacking.
Yeah, excellent. Did you hunt with a bow and arrow as well?
Yeah, unlike the Liver King, but without the physique.
Very good. Nice. Cool.
All right.
So download the stuff below. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, let us know. Marti, you got any final thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, I think just don't let perfection get in the way. Have a crack at it. Get a 4 to 6 page one done. It'll be way better. Best thing you can do, delegate this project to someone else. If it's on your plate, it's going to be another one of 100 things that needs to get done. Delegate it to someone else. Use a template that's already been done. Get a quick one out there into play. It's going to make a massive difference. And just think of it as your website in print.
So good. Awesome, man. Thank you very much for your time, Marti. Have a good one. See you guys.
Cheers. See you guys. Bye.